Hello, I'm Chris Burns. Welcome to the network. We will be connecting shortly with those covering the news to get to the bottom of an issue. But beware, our guests have 25 seconds maximum to answer. Let's take a look at today's topic right now. The battle lines are drawn, the defenders of the traditional mother-father family against those defending single-parent and same-sex families. Faced with opposition against homosexual marriage in France, President Francois Hollande backtracked, leaving it up to town and city mayors to decide. President Hollande's initial move was aimed at making public policy evolve to adapt to demographic change, as has been the case in several European countries for years now. But in some countries like France and Spain, the controversy surrounding gay marriage is gaining momentum. Although it's difficult to find statistics on homosexual couples in Europe, more than 1/3 of European children are born outside of marriage, a figure that has doubled in the past 20 years. Is European legislation and public policy following changes in the way people live together and have children? And what impact will that have on the new generations? Connected to this edition of the network, Sophie Intervelt. Here at the European Parliament, Vice President of the Parliamentary Commission on Civil Liberties, Justice and Interior Affairs, and member of the Intra-Group on the Rights of Homosexuals. Joining us from Paris, Frigide Bardot, actress, founder of the Sustainable Humanity Group and the Demo for All organisation. And joining us from Liège, Salvatore D'Amore, clinical psychologist and European research doctor in psychology. Welcome to you. A question aimed at all of you. Let's start with Sophie. Is Francois Hollande right to leave it up to mayors to decide whether or not to marry homosexuals?
No, he's wrong, because it's about marriage for all. It's not a favour which one mayor can choose to do. It's every person's, every citizen's right to choose their partner and enjoy protection from the state. Whether you're heterosexual or homosexual, it's a right, it's not a favour.
Okay, Frigide, what's your opinion?
I don't think he lets mayors decide anything at all. In fact, mayors should abide by the law, according to what he and his ministers say. And it would be illegal for them to refuse to marry homosexual couples. We oppose this obviously because of the freedom of conscience, which is above the law, and 81% of the French population agrees with that.
Salvatore, how do we solve this question?
Yes, it's indeed a complex question. And beyond the political aspect, there's a psychological aspect. Changing your mind can generate anxiety, stress, and can increase uncertainty. So we, as psychologists, can measure these effects on couples, families, and children.
Okay, let's talk about families. Should the law help homosexual couples build a family, either through adoption or medically assisted procreation? What do you think, Frigide?
A child should be recognized by law as being born from a man and a woman. So it's clear that the right to have a child is not just something that is at anyone's disposal. You can't just go against the principle that a child is born from a man and a woman.
Sophie, in Holland, for instance, homosexuals have been having families for years.
And I think it works very well. You can see that the sky hasn't fallen onto our heads since we legalized marriage for all. The country is functioning very well, and I think we need to recognize that these families exist. So it's better to offer state protection, and Madame was just talking about child protection. It's in the children's interest to recognize them.
Frigide, you'd like to say something?
I agree that these couples are the parents and those who educate these children, but you can't deny the reality that a child comes from the union between a man and a woman, and you have to recognize this gender-based aspect. A child should have access to both his parents, father and mother.
Il y a beaucoup d'enfants qui sont élevés par...
Many children are brought up by parents who are very good parents, but not necessarily their biological parents. What matters is that the child grows up in a balanced environment where he or she feels safe.
Où il se sent protégé, ça c'est le plus important.
Okay, Sophie. Salvatore. Oui.
I'd like to let Salvatore speak.
I'd like to say that a parent's sexual orientation cannot predict how a child will evolve. What matters is the quality of the family environment, the family's ability to be a family, to answer the child's needs. All the well-documented research carried out around the world shows that one parent's sexual orientation doesn't have an impact on how a child will develop.
If homosexual families are not legal, they are denied rights such as tax and pension rights. What do you think about that, Salvatore?
No, what we can do in France is introduce a new kind of civil union. Instead of changing the structure and the very principle of man-woman parenthood, we could introduce laws which would give everyone the same tax and education rights.
Salvatore.
What research has shown is that the lack of legal, social and symbolic recognition creates stress and suffering. And of course, families are in a vacuum, which is bad both for the child and for the family as a whole.
But if there are 1 million divorces each year in Europe, shouldn't governments be more open to other kinds of arrangements? Sophie.
No,
it's about, and I repeat this, it's about marriage for all. You can't give this right to part of the population and deny it to the rest. We're talking about adults who make a free choice of partner, who have the right to found a family and to have the same right as everyone else to state protection, to all the rights and freedoms which we just mentioned. You can't deny someone these rights because of their sexual orientation.
Frigid, you must agree with this, don't you?
Dear Sophie, you talk about rights, that is to say, judicial rules. Is there a right to procreation, to scientific procreation, which doesn't require the union of two bodies, a man and a woman?
What I'm saying is this: everyone should have the same rights. You cannot give rights to heterosexuals and deny them to homosexuals.
Okay, Salvatore.
Salvatore, we're reaching the end of this edition.
Beyond all our discussions, families change all the time. Society evolves all the time. What we need is an inclusive vision which takes this complexity into account in order to recognize each family with its own specificities. The family structure shouldn't affect its quality or its identity. That is very important.
Thank you, Salvatore. Unfortunately, we've reached the end of this edition. I'd like to thank our guests, Sophie Antevelt, Frigid Barjot and Salvatore D'Amori. I'm Chris Burns. Thank you for staying connected to the network.